This is a wild barred owl expertly snatching a snake right out of my son's hand and then trying to snatch my phone up as well. Both he and his mate are the guardians of the forest that our family lives in. And in this video, I'll share the story of how we gained his trust enough to go from this... Oh, look out. Whoa!
Whoa! It almost flew into my face.
Toss the snake right there where the brown patch of grass is, okay? There you go. Yeah. There you go. To this. So what you do is you hold the snake up and
like to the side and then like
to the side. At the last second, you toss it up in the air just a little bit. It's a heartwarming story about a dedicated papa owl who will stop at nothing to make sure that his two little owlets and his loyal mate always have their bellies full of snakes and mice. Told properly, it's a bit of a long story, but since I know you aren't one of those I have zero attention span because my brain's been fried by short-form content people, I know you can make it to the end and I guarantee you'll love every minute of it. So for us, and I'm sure this is the case for many of you who have had this sort of experience as well, seeing or even just hearing an owl in the wild always seems to invoke a real sense of wonder and magic inside of you. It's almost as if they really are the wise and watchful guardians of the forest that stories often portray them as. We didn't realize it at the time, but our first encounter with barred owls happened when we moved to this property in early summer 8 years ago. Back then, the only development on the property was this road here that runs through our property into neighbor Owl's house. Oh my gosh, check it out. That is a barred owl feather. A very timely find. Pretty cool. It would seem as though we have the favor of the owls in the telling of this story. Anyways, like I was saying, this road was the only development on the property at the time we moved here. And the first thing we built was this one-room shed right here to live in.
It's really coming together, babe.
We would sleep in this building here at night, and through these windows, we would often hear this shrill, almost eerie noise coming from the woods over there. It sounded like this. Now, some of you may already know what that noise is, but at the time, I had no idea, and though I did a lot of research online, I just couldn't figure it out. And I wouldn't figure it out until a few years later when I was walking down this road right here and I heard that same strange noise coming from the big leaf maple right over there. I looked up and saw two young owls perched right there in the branches. I could tell they were young owls by the way they conducted themselves. They were just looking around like they'd never seen the world hardly before, and their feathers were kind of like fuzzy and ruffled. I feel a little foolish now, but I never would have thought that owls would have made that sort of noise. I'm used to the stereotype of owl hoots, right? Shows what I know about the world, but anyways, I did some research and sure enough, yes, that is the noise that young barred owls make, and they don't learn to do the stereotypical hoot until actually much later in life. Now, the two owls that you've been seeing here aren't the same two owls that I saw that day. Unfortunately, I didn't have my camera with me at the time. I filmed the clips of these two younger barred owls in a different maple tree here on the property earlier this summer. But what is super cool about these owls is that they are very likely to be... Hello! Hello! Goodbye! Woo! They didn't even hear me. What is super cool about these owls is that they are actually very likely to be the younger siblings of the two owls that I saw on that day years ago. This might sound kind of silly to you guys, but I was so excited to discover what the source of that noise was. Solving little nature mysteries like that is one of my top favorite things to do. And in this age of pocket wizards that can answer all of the questions that you might have about life with just the click of your fingers, it can be so rewarding to just discover something completely on your own like that. Now, during all this time and up until the present day, our family had had lots of audible encounters with owls at night. There's an owl right there. Me too. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. I'm literally sitting here talking about these hooting encounters, and an owl starts hooting over here. It's not really common to think that it would happen in this moment when I'm talking to you about this very specific thing. That's pretty cool. Again, I guess the owls approve of the telling of this story. Let's continue.
Owl over there.
I know, did you hear that?
Yeah.
That was so cool. Our family has a bit of a tradition where when we hear owls hooting at night, it's typically at night when we hear them, we always respond with our own hoots. We love practicing our hooting. God only knows what we're saying to these owls. Anyways, our family had had lots of audible encounters with owls up to this point, but the first up close and personal encounter I had with a barred owl, or any owl for that matter, was in the woods here behind our house. You hear the birds over there? Those are stellar jays, and they're freaking out about something. I'll bet it's the owl, which means it's way up there in the woods. Anyways, I was hiking in the woods here behind our house, and I was looking for the source of the stream that runs through the center of our property. And as I made my way into that clearing over there, out of nowhere, this beautiful barred owl just appeared right in front of me. So this is happening right now. Say hello to my good friend Owl. I sat there and watched it for like 10 minutes, and it watched me. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but that wasn't just some random barred owl that happened to be passing through here. It was actually one of the 2 resident barred owls that claims this valley as its territory. And more importantly, it was also very likely to have been the same barred owl that is about to enter the story here. So, fast forward 4 years from that point, and the barred owl that you're seeing right now started showing up during the day and perching on the fence surrounding our garden. Now, this isn't typical behavior of barred owls. They're nocturnal and rarely come out during the day, especially not like this, where they're showing up in the middle of the day in full sunshine, perched on a fence surrounded by a bunch of humans.
The owl should have just looked at that snake.
But this particular barred owl kept coming back. And at one point, I noticed that it seemed to be staring at a tarp that we had covering some mulch. And I knew from experience that every time we lifted that tarp up to access the mulch underneath it, at least 2 or 3 little critters would either slither or scamper out from underneath it. And that got me thinking, what if the owl knew this too? What if it was waiting for us to move the tarp so it could catch one of those critters? So I lifted the tarp up, and sure enough, a little mouse ran out from underneath it, and the owl immediately swooped down and snatched it up. Got a mouse.
There's a snake.
There it goes. I thought it was very interesting that the owl didn't seem to mind that I was only about 10 feet away from it whenever it dive bombed that mouse. It's one thing if you're an owl around a bunch of humans to just sit on a fence where you can keep a close eye on them. It's quite another thing for this owl to completely put its guard down to focus on hunting a mouse when I was standing right there. Predators aren't too keen on 100% focusing on hunting prey whenever they know that there's another predator nearby that could be focusing on hunting them. So then it would seem as though this owl didn't see us as a big threat. Ooh, I think this is fatwood. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. Now, the question in my mind at this point was, had this all been some big coincidence, or was the owl actually waiting for us to move the tarp. Like it had been watching us move it previously from a distance and noticed that every time we did, something ran out from underneath it that it wanted to eat. And now it had worked up the courage to come in close and wait for us to move it again. In other words, we're me and this owl in each other's heads thinking the same thinky thoughts, and therefore had I just actively coordinated with this owl to give it easy access to its natural prey. It was only a few days later when Axel and I were working down in the orchard by our garden that I got the opportunity to answer that question. We were standing right here and installing these irrigation pipes when the owl quietly landed right there behind us on that post. Ooh. Ooh.
That's freaky. Ow.
Oh my gosh. At this point, my intuitive logic is telling me that this owl has landed right here next to us intentionally in the hopes that we'll do something that will result in it getting access to another easy meal. Of course, I couldn't just stand there and let our guests go hungry, so I went and caught the first snake I found sunbathing in the field over here and tried to give it to him. All right, so we're gonna see if the owl on this post over here will take this snake. Ooh. Looking back that way. Ready? There you go.
What the heck? Did you see that? That was so cool. It just bit the head right off.
Yes. So as you could see, Axel and I were blown away, y'all. That was such a cool experience. And so we quickly finished up our work and I went and showed the video to the rest of the family. And after that, folks, it was game on for both us and the owl. It started showing up everywhere we went on the property. All right, Cedar's turn. Feed the owl. Owl's up there. Ooh. Ooh. All right, put the snake right here. All right.
It's coming now.
There you go.
A hummingbird. It was so close to you, River.
It almost snapped one of the sunflowers off.
We would be hanging out here on our back porch, or the kids would be playing here in the backyard, and the owl would come and perch in this big leaf maple tree right over here. Oh my gosh, there's 2 owls in the tree right now. What a coincidence. All right.
Yeah.
Snake again. Owl's just here above the playground. Yeah, I see. The owl just sits and like, is that a snake?
Oh, cool. Oh, didn't get it.
Nope. Oh, it's biting me now. Ow.
Yeah.
Flatten itself. It flattened its whole body. Got away again. It keeps grabbing the grass.
Yeah. More time on the table.
It looks like a rubber snake.
Just wait a second. It's like, I want. Oh, there it is. Oh, look out. Whoa!
Whoa. It almost flew into my face.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
It slipped and then it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I think that.
Ooh. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. And then just toss it.
If we were hanging out in our living room here, the owl would show up just outside that window there in that cascara tree and wait patiently for a meal. So our house is right here. That's our living room. And it seems to know that we live in there. And it hears us and while we're inside, it just comes and perches right outside on the trees by the window here.
We don't usually just like see it. Usually the birds,
The birds are chirping. Yeah,
they
you
start
hear.
screaming, and then we
Yeah,
know the owl's
the
there.
robins go crazy, especially.
Hummingbird! Hummingbird right there by the owl. There's a hummingbird attacking the owl. Or getting you a snack. Where's its skunk powder? Oh yeah, it's right there. Oh, it's so close. Look at them. Look at us. Did you see that, Patrick? I did.
You have a snake?
Yep. Pretty
Let me see. Oh my gosh, that is really big.
And it's really feisty.
It's flattening.
Ow!
Oh, it got your finger. Look, it's flattening its head. You see that
Yeah.
diamond shape?
Uh-huh.
That is what
It's like
venomous snakes look like.
Mm.
So you fed the owl how long ago?
20 minutes ago.
And it's back for more
Yeah.
food now? All right,
Come here.
well, let's feed it. Man, that thing is feisty.
Oh my gosh. It's
Wow.
flat too.
The owl is back. River fed it about 20 minutes ago.
I got it.
There it goes.
There we go. Finally. That was so cool. Just ate it. We got it on camera.
All right, so
Yeah, probably
the owl is sitting on the garden gate here, and it's Cedar's turn to feed the owl. Toss the snake right there where the brown patch of grass is, okay? All right, ready? Here you go. Right there. There you go.
So close.
Yeah. There it goes. So, of course, we were all immensely enjoying this incredible experience with this owl. But we also knew that this kind of behavior when it comes to owls was really strange and probably pretty rare. So we did some research online, and Sarah and I started to form what we thought was a pretty sound theory as to what was going on here. The theory we came up with is multifaceted, and it's based on a few key points of information that we came across concerning barred owls in our research. First of all, barred owls are highly territorial, and their territory range generally spans between 200 and 400 acres, which is a lot for a creature that only weighs 2 pounds. The other key piece of information is that barred owls mate for life, and they generally tend to keep the same nesting site. And so what that means is that they come in pairs, right? There's a male and a female. They establish their territory and they reign over that territory until they die or some other barred owl comes in and takes it from them. So what this information meant to us was that all of the owl encounters that we had ever had on this property were likely to have been with either the 2 resident barred owls or their children. And through all of these simple encounters, from my up-close and personal experience with that owl by the spring, where I just sat there for 10 minutes and just was present with it and looked at it and talked to it, to us constantly hooting back and forth with them over the years, It's possible that we've been building some sort of relationship with them, a relationship that would ultimately culminate in them accepting the sacrificial snakes that we dropped at our feet, almost like some traditional primitive offering to the guardians of the forest here. Now, like I said, this theory is multifaceted, and the whole relationship thing didn't quite seem to explain the owl's behavior entirely. These barred owls are supposed to be nocturnal, and a few easy meals didn't seem to me to be enough of an incentive for it to break out of its comfort zone for such a long period of time like this. This went on for like 2 weeks. We probably fed this owl like 30 snakes or more in total. It might have made sense if it was wintertime and the food was scarce, but it wasn't. It was the beginning of summer, and there's plenty of little critters running around in the forest at night in this owl's 200+ acre territory for it to be well fed, right? I just knew there had to be something missing here. So I had to spend a lot of time in my thinking swing to figure it out. But the answer finally came to me, and like most good answers, it came in the form of another question. Oh, look at that. Ow, gosh. Thing got me. Hey, buddy. What do you think about owls, huh? So, fun fact, owls love to eat crawdads, so maybe next time we'll feed a crawdad to the owl. Not this time, though, right, buddy? See you later. Have fun. What if the owl wasn't just hunting for themselves? What if they had a family to feed right now? A family that was growing fast and wasn't satisfied with half of a bloody mouse once a night. So I hopped off my thinking swing and asked the pocket wizards in my phone here, and they agreed with my theory. You see, the time of year that all this was happening also happens to be the time of year that owl couples typically have baby owlets in the nest. And much like our little Maple sometimes keeps us up at night until her belly is full of milk, hangry baby owlets will keep their parents up during the day until their bellies are full of snakes and mice. Fortunately for me, Maple doesn't identify me with food at night, and so I get more sleep than Sarah. But when it comes to barred owls, the male has to do most of the hunting, as the female owl typically stays with the owlets for up to 3 weeks after they hatch just to keep them warm and safe. In fact, for about a 7-week period out of every year, male barred owls are pretty much the sole breadwinners, or in this case, the sole snake winners of the family, because even before those little owlets hatch, mama owl has to sit on those eggs for about 4 weeks. I'm just imagining a tired and very grumpy papa owl sitting there by the nest in the early morning hours after hunting all night, and the little owlets are screaming at him, "Snake, snake, bring us more snake!" And I can totally see him flying off and just landing on the fence of our garden and just sitting there waiting for us to lift that tarp up so he can get an easy meal. And looking at it that way, I can also totally see how once he figured out that all he had to do was just fly over and show up, and we would scramble to go and hunt down snakes for him and just bring it right to him, why he'd be willing to take that risk over and over and over again. I can also see Mama Owl scolding him whenever she first figured out where he's getting all these snakes. "Papa Owl, where in the fiddly forest are you getting all these snakes?" "Well, Mama Owl, you see, you know those big funny-looking creatures that walk on 2 legs and live in the big ugly log thingies?" "Yes." "Well, I fly down and perch where they are, and they just bring the snakes right over to me." "Papa Owl, you know you can't trust those creatures. You remember what they did to Uncle Wilfred." Yes, dear, but..." Yes, I know, dear. You're not as stupid as Uncle Wilfred. But please do be careful and don't get too close to them. I don't know what I'd do if I had to raise these little raptors on my own. Anyways, you can see why Papa Owl would be taking all of these risks. He had this more practical reason here to be getting the meals from us in this manner. And you can also probably now see why I think that the owl that I saw down by the spring several years ago was the same owl that we've been feeding snakes to now. It was out during the day at this same time of year. It's very likely it was that same Papa Owl looking for food for its family. And both the young owls that we heard at night when we first moved here 8 years ago and the 2 owls that I saw down on the road are all probably his children. Now, of course, the story is not over yet, and there's definitely something that I know many of you are wondering about. And that is, how did we get from this... Oh, there it is. Oh, look out.
Whoa!
Whoa. It almost flew into my face.
To this. And to answer that question, we're going to jump back a bit and rewatch one of these clips of us feeding the owl. Notice how we hoot and hold the snake up high for a while before we drop it.
There we go. Finally.
Now we're doing this for 3 reasons. 1, we want an excuse to practice our hooting. We're pretty proud of our hooting around here. 2, we're making sure that the owl sees the snake before we drop it so that it has a chance to swoop down and catch it before the snake slithers away. And number 3, I'm actually pre-programming the owl for something that I want to attempt to do. Tossing those snakes and watching that owl snatch them up like that was obviously an amazing experience. And I am so grateful to have had the privilege to be a part of that. But I had another curiosity brewing up inside of me. A curiosity that would probably get Papa Owl in a lot of trouble with Mama Owl if she figured out what he was about to do. Now, I don't know where the idea came from. Who knows where any ideas come from anyways, but I just had to know if I could get the owl to snatch a snake right out of my hand while I was holding it. So after feeding the owl a few more times to gain its trust a little more, I decided to give it a shot. All right, let's see if we can get the owl to get this snake. So like I said before, whenever we feed the owl, we hold the snake up to get its attention and show it that we have a snake. And to expound upon part 3 of why it is that we are doing that, it's also to let the owl know, hey, I have this snake for you. So that eventually it understands when I'm holding a snake up like this, that means that this snake is intended for you. This snake as good as belongs to you. And the cue is when I toss it on the ground, you come and get it. So the question now is, if we hold the snake up long enough, will the owl take matters into their own hands, or their own talons in this instance, and come and get the snake while we're still holding it? So here I am down at the garden, and this is the first time that I'm trying this out. As you can see, the owl's up in a tree here, and it's definitely recognizing that I have a snake in my hand, but it doesn't seem to be willing to take the risk to come and take it from me. Now, I must have held that snake up for like 5 minutes, and it just wasn't going for it. So after thinking about it for a little bit, I decided that it's possible that the owl just wasn't willing to because it's not a big enough snake. Like, the bigger the snake, the more risk I'm willing to take, right? So as quick as I could, I went and found a bigger snake. Unfortunately, the owl stayed in the same spot, and I gave it another try. And this time, y'all, whew, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Something amazing happened. All right. So it wasn't going for the little snake. Let's see, it'll go for a bigger one. All right. What do you think about that?
It's gonna eat it. We'll kill it.
Wow. Right there on that post. There you go.
Did you wait long enough?
Hands down, without question, that was the most incredible experience I have ever had with any animal. I just can't tell you how incredible it was to partner up with this amazing creature in this mutual acrobatic exchange. It's like in the movies where, you know, the superhero is just an ordinary person, you know, like me, and they somehow discover that they have this incredible superpower inside of them, but it takes this like wild animal that they meet up with to pair up with them and bring out this super talent, and then they ride the dragon off into the sunset or something. I don't know what I'm saying. It was out of this world. I am so grateful to have had that experience. So most of y'all know that we have a nickname for our daughter River, and that is Hummingbird. She loves birds. She is obsessed with them, and she spends so much time walking and riding around this property with her binoculars and learning everything there is to learn about birds here. And immediately after that happened with the owl, I knew that I had to share this experience with the rest of my family, but specifically with her. And not too long after that, she found the owl in a tree and immediately came and got me.
Where is it? Oh.
Ooh.
Bet you could just hand it a snake from here.
Yeah. There's reaches out its talon and grabs it.
Yeah.
You always know where the owls are because these robins see them and they start chirping. Threat. Threat. So what you do is you hold the snake up and
Like to the side and then like
to the side. At the last second, you toss it up in the air just a little bit.
And then pull your hand away.
Just toss it up and pull your hand away. Up and pull your hand away.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's, oh my goodness. It thought I had, okay, are you ready? It's ready to go. Missed it?
Yeah.
No matter how many times I watch that video clip and see that smile on her face, it makes me emotional. Words cannot describe how grateful I am to have been able to give her that experience. All of our kids are incredible, and as a father, one of my deepest desires is to give them the opportunity to experience magic in the world.
You did it. Give me 5. That was awesome. Yeah. The robin just attacked it.
Yes.
And soon after that, Sarah got the opportunity to do it as well. Now, Cedar didn't want to feed the owl in this way. It kind of freaked him out, and he's a little young, so that's probably for the best. Maple's definitely too young. And so at this point, Axel is the only person in our family that hasn't fed the owl like this. But unfortunately, that owl just stopped showing up during the day, just disappeared. And we were kind of glad about this because Sarah and I had decided that we were going to stop feeding the owl. We were worried that we had been feeding it too much and that it was becoming dependent on us for its food. Now, I understand now that that was absolutely not the case, but at the time, we just thought it was a good idea to stop, at least for a while. Although there were several occasions throughout this period where we would find the owl in a tree during the day with a snake in its talons that we didn't give to it.
Did you find the owl? How did you know it was there?
I heard a bird going, cha, 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 cha.
The owl's here, and it caught its own snake this time. Good for you. You're not completely dependent on us. Anyways, the owl stopped showing up, and we were wondering why. But we didn't have to wait long to find the answer. We were in our garden down here, and we started hearing that same shrill calling noise coming from the woods over here. And of course, now we knew exactly what that noise was. I hurried and grabbed my zoom camera and trekked into the woods there to see if I could catch a glimpse of those little owlets. I sat and watched those owls for a really long time, and eventually they flew off over into some other trees over here, and I followed them for a while. It was so amazing. I even tried to hold a snake up at one point just to see what they would do, and they immediately like locked in on it and were like, It's so funny how they move their heads. But they were not brave or stupid enough to come down and investigate. So, as those of you who could put two and two together probably figured out by now, the reason Papa Owl stopped showing up during the day to get these snakes was because the baby owls had left the nest and they were kind of starting to fend for themselves. Evidently, the parents were still continue to feed them for the next couple weeks, but I don't think that they were putting the same kind of pressure on Papa Owl to go get them food as they had been before they left the nest. Now, it's kind of sad that Axel didn't get to feed the owl in this way, but the good thing is that next year, just like every year, these owls will likely have more babies, and maybe Papa Owl will get desperate again early next summer, and we'll start seeing him show up and begging for some snakes. So the owl is down here by the garden. Ooh. I can't hoot right now because I have a very sore throat. I really want Axel to be able to feed it, but I'm afraid if I leave, it'll just fly away. Snakes are hard to come by these days. They're kind of hibernating now because it's cooler, but we got one here. So you don't have to do, you just have to kind of hold it and wait. Mm-hmm. And the owl will take it right out of your hand. Mm-hmm. You don't have to toss it or anything. Mm-hmm. It just landed on that post.
It knocked the camera right off.
Yeah. That was so great. Oh my gosh, Axel. That was perfect.
I expected it to just go take the phone and run.
I know, that would have been hilarious. My camera was on this post right here. The owl landed right on the camera. Oh my gosh, that was great. I don't know. Oh my gosh, Riv.
Where is it?
It's gone now.
Oh.
Sorry, I tried to get you over here. I was yelling at you. I was knocking on the door and yelling at you.
Oh.
Axel got to feed it.
Oh, with like a hand?
Yeah, I took it right out of his hand. I'll show you the video in a second. Yesterday, I was out here trying to hoot at the owl because I saw it. I mean, I heard it hooting back here. So maybe that's why it came, because it was like, somebody was hooting over here. Alrighty, folks. Well, it took a lot longer than I thought it would to tell that story, but I really enjoyed telling it, and I hope that you enjoyed watching it and listening to it too. But I want to mention two things really quickly. Number one, I thought it was worth mentioning that barred owls are an invasive species here in the Pacific Northwest. We could have a whole conversation about that, but I'm just going to state the facts. That's it. They're an invasive species, or they're considered an invasive species. And number two, I just wanted to briefly address the obvious safety issue when it comes to feeding a wild raptor like this. And honestly, all I have to say is that I totally trusted the combination of this owl's self-preservation instinct and its extremely incredible aerial acrobatic skills. Folks, just watch right here as the owl snatches the snake out of the air and on a dime changes the direction of its flight. And watch it do the same thing here as it snatches the snake from the picnic table, just completely changes direction and flies off the other way. That is amazing, y'all. This owl is so good at what it does, and it does not want to come in contact with us. It wants to get that snake and get out of there without anyone touching anyone. I 100% believe that that was going to be the case, and that's what ended up happening. With all that said, I am totally willing to change my mind on this. I would love to hear all of your constructive comments and criticisms. Oh, and Walter wanted me to mention a third issue with feeding wild raptors close to our rabbits down here by the garden, and that is that we're making them more comfortable with being around our human structures, and that might lead to Walter here getting attacked by an owl. But as far as we're concerned here, these barred owls are the guardians of the forest, and we'll give them the snake offerings, and hopefully they'll leave our rabbits alone.